Welcome everybody, I'm Stephen Robilio and this is this week's Virtual Chef Dinner, Family Style Edition. We have a great menu planned for y'all this evening. We're going to start off with a beautiful Caesar salad that I've got all the ingredients laid out for right here. And then we're going to move to a gemelli pasta and sausage dish. And then dessert this week is going to be some really nice chocolate chip cookies. So follow along and we'll get started here. So first thing, before we actually start on our first course, there's going to be a few things you want to go ahead and grab out. The equipment list that you got with your kit. Go ahead and pull all those things out. You'll want to get your large pot of water on over medium heat so it can start coming up to temperature. And you want to turn your oven on to about 350 degrees for two reasons. One, to warm up the rosemary focaccia bread that we included in this week's kit, and to bake your cookies after dinner. So go ahead and do that, and we'll get started here with our salad course. Let's get started with the salad. So here in front of me, I have all the ingredients. We have lemon juice, Worcestershire sauce, liquid egg yolk, red wine vinegar, and anchovy and garlic paste, and Creole mustard. And then back here, extra virgin olive oil and Parmesan cheese. These are all the base ingredients for our Caesar dressing that we're gonna make. This is not gonna be a thick, creamy Caesar dressing like we make in the restaurant. This is a much lighter version that I think goes really well with the heavier pasta that we're having tonight. So let's get started and make this vinaigrette. This is the point where you're going to want to get a large mixing bowl that you have at your house. Obviously, I have a very large one here, but if you don't have this size, it's quite all right. Just grab the largest one you got. When we make this vinaigrette, you might need an extra set of hands, but I'm going to show everybody a little trick that I use at the restaurant that cooks use when we don't have to ask our neighbor if, hey, can you hold this mixing bowl? So I'm taking a kitchen towel, and all we do is we wet it, and then we're going to roll it up like that, and then we can set our mixing bowl right on top of it, and it's got a little wobble, so I'm going to make it a little bit bigger, and then we're set. And that is an easy way for your bowl to be set so you can make this vinaigrette. So let's get to that. So we're going to start with all of our ingredients right here, taking them one by one, just placing them in the bowl. Lemon juice, Worcestershire sauce, we've got liquid egg yolk, red wine vinegar, our anchovy and garlic paste, and then our Creole mustard. All right. So we're going to take that and take our whisk and give it a couple stirs to incorporate that mustard and break up that anchovy paste. So we're making a emulsified vinaigrette here. So two things are going to help bind the oil to the vinegar and the lemon juice, and that's the egg yolk and the mustard. So it's very important when you're making this to drizzle relatively slowly. If you pour too much oil in at one time, it's okay. Just stop pouring for a second, whisk it in until it's incorporated, and then you can start again. But we're going to start here, just nice slow drizzles. Stirring pretty vigorously. With vinaigrettes, you always are using about a 3-to-1 ratio of acid to olive oil. So here, you know, our acid is our lemon juice and our vinegar. Worcestershire is more for a flavoring. All right, we're getting close here, and as you can see, the vinaigrette is getting a little thicker. We're going to finish that up. All right, now we're going to take our salt, and we're going to give 2 nice little pinches of salt and a few turns of our cracked black pepper. Okay, stir that in. So now at this point, for you at home, you're going to want to stop. You're going to wait until we're ready to plate our entree up before you toss your greens in the Caesar dressing. But for the purpose of the video here, we're going to go ahead and do that so you can see what it looks like. So we're going to get rid of our whisk here. We're going to take our greens here, and we're going to go all in right there. We're going to take a little bit of our Parmesan cheese so it gets mixed in. And then a couple test clicks and we're good to go. We're going to stir our salad into the vinaigrette. And I always suggest tossing salads in vinaigrette. It coats all the leaves instead of getting a big bite of dressing. It just evenly distributes everything. All right. So now that we got this nice and incorporated, I'll show you what it looks like on a plate. So we're going to take this, just like that right there. We got our beautiful rosemary focaccia croutons that we make here at the restaurant with the bread. Little crouton, little Parmesan cheese, and that's your first course. All right, we're going to move on to our entree this evening. So just to refresh, we've got a large pot of water on and almost boiling. Mine is almost boiling right behind me. And now we have our large saute pan also on over low heat, just warming up while we're prepping our vegetables. So one thing that I wanted to go over real quick is just to kind of how to hold a knife and keep your hands and everything safe when we're doing all this prep. So when you have your knife here, you want to take your pointer finger and your thumb, and you want to grab both sides, and you want to hold it. And what that's going to do is when you grab the rest of the knife, it holds very steady in your hand versus if you just grab the handle, and then you can all over the place. So this will keep your hands nice and safe. The other thing that we do in the restaurants, we kind of curl our fingers and we keep our thumbs back behind everything. So that way when we're cutting, we're using the front of our fingers here kind of as a guide. So little tutorial there. So let's jump right into prep here. So we've got some beautiful bell peppers and a red onion. This is all of our real knife work that we have to do tonight. So we're going to do that. So to dispatch a bell pepper, there are a multitude of ways, but this is how we're going to do it tonight. We're going to take it and we're going to cut one side off. We're going to rotate it. We're going to cut another side off. We're going to rotate it again and cut another side and the bottom. And that's how we're going to take off all the sides of all of these peppers. So we're going to do that real quick. I realize that I might be a little faster than what y'all are doing at home, and that's okay, because that's a good part about this video. Y'all can hit stop to catch up without an issue. So what we're going to do is we're going to make about 1/4 inch slices, juliennes, of these peppers. So we're going to come just straight across like this and cut these up in nice pieces just like that and put them on our plate that we've got sitting right here. So again, we're going to come through and just cut straight across. Again, I realize that I'm probably a little quicker than everybody, so if you want to hit pause and get all your peppers cut up, we'll move on to the onion in just a second, as soon as I can get mine cut up. And the only way to get better using a knife is practice, so don't feel intimidated that I'm flying through peppers and you're not. I hold a knife every day at work. All right, a couple more. All right, so our red onion, we're going to use this whole thing we got here. So to start off on this, we're going to take the root end right here, and we're going to snip a little piece off the end, and then we're going to go to the top end, and we're going to do the same thing. Stand it up, and we're going to cut it right in half. And take the outer peel off the outside, and as you can see, I need to take a couple layers. And there we go. We're going to discard that. Now, with onions, you can see lines running straight up the onion like this, our julienne cut, we're actually going to follow those lines straight across. So again, we're making about 1/4 inch slices. Now a little trick, when you get about 1/2 to 3/4 of a way, you're going to come right there and you're actually going to flip that over like that and then come back and make your last few cuts. So again, we're following the grain of the onion. We got about halfway, we're going to flip it and we're going to go like that. Okay, we're going to transfer these to our plate. Now it's time to cook our entree. All right, guys, now it's time to cook our entree. So we moved over here to the stove. As you can see, I've got my pot of water that's on, boiling, ready to go. We will turn it up a bit when it's time to put the pasta in. I've got my pan right here, nice and preheated. As you can see, I've chosen one. It's non-stick. It doesn't have to be, but it's got a nice taller side so that it can really hold all the sauce and, in the end, all the pasta as well. So we're going to kick this saute pan up to medium-high heat right here. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to put our sausage in. Now, we're going to grab one of our spoons here and we're going to break up the sausage. So as you can see, it's not really wanting to break up right now. So it's because it's cold. So don't worry about that. As soon as the sausage starts heating up, it will break apart. So we're going to kind of flatten it out almost and let it sear and get some nice caramelization on the bottom side of that. Again, on about medium-high heat. And now we're going to start breaking it into smaller pieces. Okay. Just remember when you're doing this, if you are in a non-stick skillet, that you need to be using either a plastic heat-safe spoon or a wooden spoon or a plastic heat-safe spatula. If you are in a metal pan, you can use a metal spoon. It might scratch it a little bit, but it's definitely not going to hurt it. Okay, so as you can see, we got a little bit of color on our sausage here. That's what we're looking for. It does not have to be cooked all the way. So we're going to take our peppers and onions here that we cut up a few minutes ago, and we're going to add all of those in one shot. All right. We're going to go ahead and turn that up to high, and we're going to go ahead and also turn our pasta water up to almost high as well, because it's about time to throw our pasta in. Now, for your kit, you might get gemelli pasta, which is a straight squiggly noodle, or you might get bow tie pasta. It just depends. And really, any short noodle, could be penne, could be rigatoni, bow tie again, all would work really well for this. Something just kind of hold the sauce. All right, so we've given that a little stir. We're going to take some of our salt here, give it 3 good pinches, and our water is boiling, so we're going to go ahead and add in our pasta. Give that a stir so nothing sticks together. I don't have anything in the water, just water, no salt, no oil. It's not needed. All right. So I'm going to give this little stir here. So we're looking to cook these until the vegetables just start to get soft. 3 to 5 minutes roughly. And again, your pasta will take between 10 and 12. If you have any larger chunks of sausage, it's okay to still go ahead and kind of break those up. All right. Now, we're almost ready to add in our marinara and our heavy cream. So when we go to add our heavy cream, we're not going to add all of it. We're going to save roughly about a quarter cup. You don't have to measure it. It's an eyeball thing. We just want to finish with just a little bit of fresh cream that hasn't been reduced. And you'll understand a bit more here in just a second when we do that. So this is nice and soft now, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to add all of our marinara. We're going to add our chicken base. We're going to add our chopped rosemary. And again, we're going to add almost all of our heavy cream except for about a quarter cup. Leave that right there. We're going to stir this around. So, while this is cooking, while your pasta is boiling, you want to go ahead and grab your pasta strainer. It can be a metal one, it can be a plastic one, whatever you got at the house will work just fine. We're going to reduce the heat on our sauce up here to about medium now and let that cook. And we're going to get ready to strain our pasta here in about another 7 or 8 minutes. We're going to want to save, before you strain your pasta off, you're going to want to save about a quarter cup. You can measure that of pasta water, because that's going to go in our sauce right here. All right, guys, so as you can see here, our sauce has reduced down considerably. Our pasta's boiling, just has another couple minutes. I just wanted to talk real quick, so we're using a pork Italian sausage here in this dish. A lot of people don't eat pork. A lot of people like healthier options. Ground turkey and ground chicken would both work in this recipe, but you would need to add some Italian seasonings, dried herbs such as basil, oregano, thyme, probably some garlic powder, some onion powder, oregano, to get that Italian flavor in there, because those flavors are in Italian sausage. So when we cook all that together, it's drawing out those flavors. So sub your turkey, sub your chicken, no problem, but just add those extra seasonings in. And that's kind of something you'll just have to play with and see what the right amount is, but definitely can be substituted. So right now we're almost ready. We've got our pasta back here that we don't want to overcook, because we're going to cook it in our sauce for just a minute afterwards. And that's a thing about pasta. You always have to let it cook in the sauce for at least a minute or so to help absorb some of that flavor into the pasta and really flavor the pasta. All right, guys, as you can see here, our sauce is nice and reduced. Our pasta is, oh yeah, just right there. So this is the point where you're going to want to take some of your pasta water and add it to your sauce. Like I said, about a quarter cup. This particular spoon I got right here, that's about a quarter cup. And we're going to stir that in. And we're also going to add the last little bit of heavy cream. We're going to turn our pasta off. We're going to take it over to the sink, and we're going to go ahead and drain that. Okay, so we've got our pasta drained right here. I'm going to make sure all that pasta water is off of it, because we already added what we needed. We're going to add that right into our sauce here. We're going to turn our heat back up to about medium so it comes to a nice boil. And we're going to incorporate our noodles. Again, we want this to cook for a minute or two in the sauce. So if the sauce seems a little thin, it will thicken back up once that pasta starts to absorb it. So at this point, we are about ready to eat. So it would be a good time to go ahead and get your salad greens out of the refrigerator and get your Caesar dressing and go ahead and toss those salads and get that plated up, because this is just going to be just one more minute. All right, guys, it's about time to plate up our entree. Before we do, though, remember the bread was going to take about 5 minutes in that 350-degree oven just to warm up. So you want to make sure that's in there right now. Your salad should be dressed and plated and ready to go. And this is how we're going to plate up the entree, because remember, even though you're at the house, people eat with their eyes. So if your plate doesn't look pretty, it's not going to taste as good. So take your time when you're plating it. Pretend you're at the restaurant, that you're going to have a gorgeous pasta dish placed down in front of you. Here we go. Now we're going to take a little bit of that fresh cheese, or a lot of that fresh cheese, whatever you like, and some cracked black pepper, a good amount. And this is the gemelli sausage and peppers in our Caesar salad for this evening. Tonight would also be a good night for a nice bottle of red wine. Red wine always goes well with pasta, especially tomato-based pastas. So don't forget to get some of that. And then for dessert tonight, we have our chocolate chip cookies. So this is one of my favorite recipes that I make right here. Really easy to cook. 350-degree oven. If you don't have any parchment paper or a silk pad or aluminum foil, you can go on a lightly greased sheet tray for 9 to 11 minutes. 11 minutes for a more crispier cookie, 9 minutes for a softer cookie. But if you have parchment paper or anything like that, you don't have to grease it. You cook it right on there. Same time though. So those are going to be your dessert. One of my favorite things, chocolate chip cookies. So thank you all so much for joining me this week. We at Amerigo and myself, obviously, very much appreciate everybody joining me. And hopefully we'll see you all again. Thanks.